Carbon fixation or sequestration can take many forms. Some involve expensive, experimental, high-tech schemes, and some are old-fashioned, low-tech, easy to do, and very effective, not to mention reliable. We're talking, of course, about cultivating vegetation, also known as gardening. Today we're at one of the community gardens in Saskatoon. Meet our guest, Gord.
Hi, Janine.
Thanks for taking time to show us around. I take it community gardens are proliferating.
They are. We have 40 this year, and that's doubled since 2012, so it's growing a lot.
It's growing a lot. So what's it all about?
Well, community gardens are providing people with a space that want to grow the type of food they want to grow locally. So there's different suppliers of land, the city, churches, schools, sometimes private. We find a space at CHEP Good Food, where I work. We facilitate part of the process. And a local collective is formed, so they organize locally and then make decisions on how they'll proceed.
Who can get involved?
Anyone can get involved. We, because gardens are neighborhood based and there's a big demand, gardeners tend to be from the neighborhood.
Okay, so what's the process?
So when a garden starts, we're quite involved helping with that. The startup can be a little complicated, but you need some organizers, some local organizers. We find land, we decide where the garden will be, what the guidelines might be, what kind of funding they might need, and then they talk to their gardeners and find out how they want to set up and what the guidelines would be.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it's an amazingly beautiful garden. Can you give us a quick tour?
Sure. So this is the City Park Garden, and I happen to garden here as well. I've been part of this garden for, I think this is the 13th year. So here we'd have, in this space, about 45 plots. So 45 families or individuals. Some of them are shared, so there's probably 100 people involved here in this garden when you think about it. And they're given a space. They vary, but the typical space might be 150 square feet, or up to 200. People have their own space. There are some communal areas where we might say it's open to anyone to pick. There's strawberries quite often, or rhubarb or things. We have water sources in the garden, so we can water our plants. Here we have a shed where we store all our common tools, and it kind of just works organically. Like it's a grassroots kind of initiative.
Notice some of the differences between this garden fresh or dried oregano and the store-bought type. This was picked this morning, this over the past couple weeks, and this, well, we're not sure. I could have bought those little package of fresh oregano from the supermarket, but it was a little out of my price range. The differences are obvious. First of all, price. The cost of this is a few dollars, and this would be, between seed and a bit of water maybe, mere pennies, especially given the quantity. The quality is incomparable between the fresh and dried aroma and taste-wise. This one, being fresh and attainable, is chock full of enzymes with life-giving properties, and of course, pesticide-free, organically grown. And if all these reasons weren't enough, and they are, there's a long list of eco-benefits. Gardening in your backyard or in a community garden, if you don't own land, has numerous environmental benefits, starting with number one. Carbon dioxide accumulating in the atmosphere is the main cause of global warming. Vegetation literally takes carbon dioxide out of the air, making free gourmet food. Second, food that's not trucked in avoids all the gas required with trucking, a lot of the packaging also involved. Third, most crops are grown commercially in monoculture or one type of plant in a big field, making it far more vulnerable to disease and pests, and far more likely to require spray. The manufacture of pesticides is another very energy-intensive process. Fourth, fertilizers used in commercial production to boost yields, where profit is important, are also energy intensive. They require mining, trucking, and more gas. In a home garden or community garden, we rely on crop rotation, heritage varieties, and compost to boost yields and protect our crops. And lastly, let's include friendship as one of the green things about gardening. Getting to know your neighbors, watching the skies, getting your hands in the soil, starting with a plan and working with sunshine and rain, and ending up in potlucks, that's about as green as it gets. My question is, what makes it a green deed?
Well, what makes it green are probably a couple of obvious things. One is you're growing food locally. The food you want to grow, it's fresh, it's unpackaged, it's not being transported across the country or continent. And it's, you know what went into it. Like you're the grower, right? Another obvious thing is that people don't drive here. Like people would live nearby, so they're walking to their garden, they're taking their produce home. All the gardens use organic practices, so no synthetic pesticides, no synthetic fertilizers, and we rely most heavily on compost that the city provides through their compost depot. So those are, environmental slants to the whole thing.
Can I ask, what's for supper?
Well, I do have cucumbers, so I'm planning toasted cucumber sandwiches.
Oh, sounds great. I'll be over what time?
6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. So folks, enjoy your veggies. And also check out our website at greendeeds.ca. I'm your host, Janine Paul. Thanks for watching.